Welcome to Veteran Voices, SITREP, with your hosts, Tom and Chris Faust.
Welcome to Veteran Voices. I am Tom Faust, and this is my son, Chris.
How do?
We are happy to be here today to another episode of Veteran Voices SITREP. And today we want to talk about generally a life balance. We're going to talk about three parts: the physical, personal, and professional life, and how to help blend them all together into a cohesive piece so that you're, what do you call it, Chris? A solid, well-rounded person, right?
Yeah, well-rounded, not like my weight.
Hey.
No. These things are good. They'll help. They're good advice for anybody, really. When you're talking, physical, personal, and professional, ways to keep yourself balanced, because balance is a huge thing, especially for veterans and people getting out of the military.
Yes, it is. So we can start by talking about, talking about the physical part of this, because if you're not in good physical shape, it affects everything else down the road in your life as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not all about, not all about looking good and having, the perfect body. It's not really what it's about. It's about just being healthy, overall, and well-being, and in a good place physically, so that you don't get sick too easily and, avoid diseases and things.
Yep.
It's good for strength, endurance, flexibility. And if you're in really bad shape, somebody gets morbidly obese, for instance, then you have a high risk of heart disease and diabetes and things like that, which you'd like to avoid. Things that you can do, or we start with exercise. And you can chime in anytime, of course, Chris.
Yeah.
But exercise does things for you, like it helps improve your mood by releasing some endorphins and things, or whatever, that kind of stuff in your body.
Morning exercise is a good one there. Start with exercising in the morning if you're going to do that. That way you're energized and ready for the day, instead of, thinking about it throughout the day. Like, okay, well, I need to finish work, and then I need to, okay, now I need to get home and then eat dinner and spend time with wife or kids or family. And then it's like, okay, well, now I need to work out. But then you're looking at the time, and it's getting close to, when you might go to sleep. So morning is always typically better. That's what they did in the military. You wake up, use the restroom first thing there, go out, look at colors, do the PT, and then you eat and start your day.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing about exercising, which is seems kind of counterintuitive, but it actually gives you more energy for your day. It gets you started, gets your body moving and just ready to go. So it's really, really good to get started in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's other. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say mine kind of, over the years just kind of went by the wayside, just because I did it for years. Wake up early in the morning to work out, and you get in, you're just kind of like, you wake up, you're like, well, I don't really have to. So.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah, another part of these is just trying to, keep yourself motivated, which we can talk more about, later on when it comes to, having a buddy to do these things. Yeah.
And like you're saying about, you get out of the military and it's like, okay, they've been making me work out every day. Now I don't have to. And so you tend to get a little lazy about it. And I did the same thing for a long time. And then about the time I turned, 40 going on 50, it was like, I need to stay in shape if I want to actually be around for a while, So I started, and I still don't always look forward to it, but I get up in the morning at least, like 3 days a week, and get on the elliptical or do something and try to get some exercise in to get going, to stay in shape and just kind of keep healthy.
Yeah, that's a good way, because that kind of segues into, practical tips for trying to do that is, starting with simple goals of what you want to do. So, what your first simple goal is to actually, do it. You wake up in the morning and start your routine, do whatever exercising you're going to do.
Yeah, do something.
And then you can, just add little add little things like, park further away from your destination, get more steps in, work out at home without fancy equipment so you don't need all of it. So, the typical push-ups, sit-ups, jogging, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, get a small, set of weights. You can start with, 3 pounds or 5 pounds or, work your way up to 10 and 20 or whatever as you go to kind of build up some of the muscle. But you don't have to start out big. You don't have to do everything at once. It could be, 5 minutes the first day or, something like that, and just expand the time. But eventually you want to get to where you're doing 20 to 30 minutes on the days that you do your exercise. And it doesn't have to be every day. You can do something aerobic, a few days a week, which is the way I do it. And then on a couple other days, I'll do some things like the sit-ups and some weights and things just to kind of use different muscles.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always the simple things, that you can do anytime. Just go for a walk. Or if you like being out in nature, you can go do some hikes, some backpacking, or skiing in the winter. If you got some snow around, depending where you live. So.
Yeah, doing things like that too is helpful because in the society we're in now with a lot of office and desk jobs, people are sitting down all the time. I mean, we're sitting down doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Try and stand up. Do something to get some exercise in there because you sit a lot more than you realize.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, depending on the work. I mean, if you do construction or something, you're probably getting physical exercise. But if you have any kind of an office job, then you definitely need to do something else on the side to keep that going. And of course, it never hurts to have a friend or somebody that you're accountable to work out with or to talk with and keep up a routine. So you stay motivated and just stay busy about all that.
Yeah, that's the most difficult thing. It's like my wife and I are now to a point where we need to, we both want to start working out and getting in a shape that's not round in my case, and just feeling overall better. But it's like I've tried it myself, and it's like I'll do it for a while, and then I just kind of lose the motivation for it. I don't have anybody to nudge me along or do it with. So it's definitely something that you need, which can go for anybody, just a support structure, whether it's, a significant other, friend, anything, just any sort of support is going to help you in anything that you do.
Yeah. And maybe for some people, they need that social aspect. And so going out and finding, a softball team that you can join or anything like that, where you can, because a lot of soccer, even if you like running around, there's adult teams for these as well as, if you check your local recreation department, I'm sure there's things you can sign up for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So the next one we can get into is, personal. This is what this is where you get a lot more things that you can do to help for it. But, improving your personal life, your relationships, and your overall well-being is definitely a necessity. And that's, self-care, which is part of the physical part, effective communication and positive habits to help improve your personal life. Yeah.
Yeah. And the habits are a big part, establishing it as a habit, something that you just do sometimes almost without thinking about it. It's like, in the morning your alarm goes off and you have your day to start out and it just becomes a habit. You go and you brush your teeth and you do, you get cleaned up and get ready for your day, do your exercise, take a shower, whatever it is. These are all habits that we get into to just get through our day. And habits are a very, very big part of just life in general. Something your subconscious just takes care of for you. Without habits, we probably wouldn't be able to function.
Yeah, I agree. But not all habits are good, so that's why you need the positive and good habits.
That's where I was just going to go.
Because habit that I had for a long while, which I started in the Army, was smoking. And it was a habit for me to just take a little break and go out and have a cigarette. And fortunately, gosh, I think we're going on 5 or 6 years now. I'm smoke-free, cigarette-free, nicotine-free, all that stuff. So
it's great. Yeah,
I feel better. I notice a huge difference in that. So I turned a negative habit into a positive one by not doing the habit.
Right. And usually the way habits work, and there's some good books on this. I'll put some references with this podcast. There's one called Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is a really good book on how to break habits and make new habits to replace them. Because just saying, okay, I want to stop smoking, for instance, to get rid of a bad habit. It's okay. So then what are you going to do in its place? Because if you don't have something to replace it with, then it's easy to just fall right back into that.
Yep, and that was part of my thing is I kind of replaced smoking with food.
So now you can replace some food with exercise.
Yeah, super excited about that. No, that needs to happen though, I know.
Sure. That's funny. So anyway, yeah. So there's other things that can really help you with your personal growth. It really helps to just kind of take some time to understand yourself, to get to know yourself. What are what do you value in life? What makes you happy? What do you like to do? And around that, you can set some personal goals, which can be the exercise, getting in shape, or it can be, reading something that kind of helps you mentally, or to learn something new. But spend some time every day or every week at a certain time and set a schedule for it, so that you know that this is what I'm going to do at this time, and it makes it easier to do it when it's on a schedule.
Yeah,
that could be. The reading, it could be hobbies, it could be other things about health, learning how to cook better meals for yourself, for instance. All that kind of stuff could be involved there.
Focusing on something, too, is also what helps, because, when you get rid of a bad habit and you try and replace it with a good one, you just need to, stick with it. So that's part of things that you can do for a personal improvement is developing a positive mindset. Just be, thankful and happy for things. You appreciate the good in your life. Have a lot of, try and have a lot more optimism and see challenges and, see things as opportunities for growth instead of, okay, well, I'm just, replacing one thing. So, okay, yeah, right, good there. But it's like, have more, happy attitude about things, because that'll also help with your mental stuff as well. Just happiness and laughter is always a much better thing for your health than, gloom and doom.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to our podcast from the end of the year of 23, where we talked about gratitude, being thankful for things and keeping a good attitude about noticing what's happening in your life and seeing how that all works toward making you who you are. These are things that can kind of help keep you optimistic, keep you ready to grow into new things and ready to move further in life. And at the same time, we'll get into the professional stuff in a bit, the work life, but it's good to have a good work-life balance, and don't spend all your time working. You need to be able to spend time with your family and keep things in balance so that you're spending time with your profession, because, we all need to earn money to keep going, to have a life. And then on the other side, your family life and keep those relationships up and have dinner together, that kind of thing that kind of helps keep the family cohesive. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to keep these things in balance.
Yeah. One of the things that one of the streamers on Twitch that I watch pretty much every day when he streams, the character that he role plays, because it's a Grand Theft Auto role play thing, but that's neither here nor there. But one of the things that he says for his character, which actually is, which he says is his mindset too, is you want to work to live, not live to work.
That's a good one.
So that's how you maintain a balance. You work enough so that way you can, pay the bills and do what you need to, and that way you can live your life and do what you want, instead of, okay, well, you need to, you need money, you want money, so you slave 60, 70 hours a week to try and earn that money. And that's just not good for anything.
Yeah, true. That's very true. Made me think of something else. Maybe in a future podcast, we can talk about things people could do on the side if they want to try and start their own business that helps them earn money to do things that you can do. Like, for instance, online, there's a lot of opportunities online that you can do to earn money on the side, where maybe you can get to the point where you have enough income coming in that you don't have to go work for somebody else, and give you even more time to spend with your family.
Yeah.
So that's, something we can talk about at a future time.
Okay.
But that kind of relates to things like, the personal finance, make sure you have a budget that keeps your finances steady and you're not struggling to make ends meet over here. And, you want to make sure you have enough money for your food and the things that you need, but also for things you want. It can't be all about the needs. So there's, we want things that just kind of help to make us happier in life as well. The other thing that works toward that is, contributing to your 401k at work if they have such a thing, or to an IRA to save for the future so that you have money down the road when it comes time to retire.
Mm-hmm. And then, another thing for personal things is, keeping on learning. That's how you keep your mind sharp. You keep it active. Like, you know what you know, but if you just rely on that, then you're just kind of just sitting stagnant. But if you constantly wanting to learn something, and it doesn't need to be anything super major, like, as we're doing these podcasts, you're learning more about, the video editing stuff. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm learning more about, all the things that we talk about, the subjects that we discuss, read things there, but just in general, like, even if you if you play games, you learn a new game, learn a new computer game, learn a new way to do things. You just keep learning, and that just keeps your mind, keeps that exercise going, the mental exercises. Yeah.
You want to stay sharp. So, and you can take courses, in a school type situation, but you can go onto YouTube and learn just about anything. They have every subject out there. And so just finding new things to learn and doing things like even playing some games, like puzzle type games where you have to think about the logic and think about how to get through a situation, or do crossword puzzles, or any of that kind of stuff. Just kind of keeps your mind working and really helps with the, like you said, keeping your mind sharp. And that kind of stuff can help even down the road, help avoid things like Alzheimer's in the future, because it's keeping your mind sharp. Because when you're just stagnant and just kind of going day to day watching TV all the time or something, where you're just not really doing anything that works on your mind and helps you really think things through and be creative, your mind tends to just decide there's nothing to worry about being creative about, and kind of falls down. Yeah,
I used to read a lot, but I'd read a lot more now, and I'd read a lot of different types of books, different, fantasy genres, things like that, just to, have my mind thinking different directions too. So I think that helps, at least me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been reading a lot of books on business, and on, like I mentioned, the book on habits, and just various, self-learning things. I've been busy with a lot of that, all these kind of things, to understand yourself, understand your purpose, understand what it is that it takes to start a successful business. And that's kind of what got me on the track that got this podcast started, is because I was looking for things to do to like start a business on the side. But part of that is being known. If you want people to buy your product or service, they generally have to know you and like you and trust you, and doing things like this helps build trust with people. Mm-hmm. So that was even part of it for me. And then beyond that, there's things you do for yourself, but you also want to give back and do things for other people. And so volunteering, offering these podcasts for us, for instance, is something that we're doing to give back. There's no sales involved. We aren't trying to sell anybody anything. We're just offering resources and services for veterans. And that's what we're doing to kind of give back in this sense.
And our opinions, for what it's worth, just different perspectives of things as well.
Mm-hmm. Perspective. I like that better than opinions, but yes, because it is just our perspective on things, and you don't have to agree. That's the beauty of it. You can do your own thing, find your own way. But this is what we think is working. And so we're just trying to help and share what we can.
Yeah, keeping an open mind is also another good thing too. I think we either briefly touched on that, I might have skipped over it a bit, but keeping an open mind to things is also beneficial, because you don't want to be, you stuck in your ways. There's plenty of people that are that way, but just, you don't have to agree, but just you can take it in, and who knows, it might give you a different way of thinking about things. But
that's true. Yeah.
That also kind of rolls into a little bit of, seeking help when you need it. So, whether it's professional help, personal help, if you're dealing with something there, mental health issues, having somebody to talk to. If you don't like talking to, you can talk to a therapist, you can talk to a counselor. Mm-hmm. Some people don't really want to do that. like maybe they want to talk to, friends or family who might give them different opinions that they might be more comfortable with, because not everybody is comfortable with opening up to just some random person that you pay $40 an hour to hear you talk about things. But sometimes an outside perspective is what you need to understand things more, that, something that might be going on in your head.
People are social beings. We need other people. You need to be able to talk, to communicate, and sometimes to just talk things out. And even if the other person doesn't even have to say anything necessarily, a lot of times just having somebody to talk about whatever the issue is, helps you figure it out, because you're getting it out. You're getting it out of your system, putting the words out there. Or you can go and keep a journal. You can write it down. Writing down your feelings. Sometimes you have something stuck in your head, but writing it down helps you get it out of your head, because now it's on the paper. It's over there. You don't have to carry it with you all the time. So that kind of stuff helps too. Of course, just kind of generally as a personal thing, just staying organized and uncluttered. You don't want to live in a messy place. Don't be a hoarder. Don't keep a mess. It's good to have some clarity and some clear living situation, and a fairly clear desk if you can, although I'm looking at mine and it's not all that clear. I could probably clear it up more.
Mine's mine's relatively clean, but my cable situation with my computer and monitors is a completely different story.
Yeah, that can get bad. Yeah, I know exactly how that goes. The other thing then is in your work life, in your professional situation, whatever it is, to, like we touched on having that work-life balance. And you should set clear boundaries, like what are my work hours? If you have a regular job where you're there, 8 to 5 or whatever the hours are, that's pretty clear. Okay, these are my hours, but don't bring it home with you. When you come home, you want to spend the time with your family and be in a different situation. And leave the work behind. I mean, maybe you can talk about your day a little bit, but don't make your home life your work life. You want to keep the two fairly separate, and know when to say no. If you have personal things going on and somebody from work is calling, they need help with this or that, and there are other ways they could do it, and they don't actually have to have you do it, then, learn to say no.
And then, working too just goes back to what you'd even touched on briefly right before this is, staying organized, prioritize things. So even in your work life, you want to use calendars, planners, digital apps, things like that to help you prioritize tasks. Because, you're going to be given 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows how many different things that you need to get done. And you just need to put them all down and determine, okay, this is the most important for this reason here, so I need to do this first, and then I can do this, and things like that. So that also helps your mental stress, because you already have it kind of written down of, okay, this is how I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Like you said, having the priority of it is important, so that these are the things I need to do, and then organize them in, like, this is really important. It has to get done. This would be nice to get done. This other thing is like, well, if it gets done or not, it's not really going to matter. But maybe it's something I just like to do, so I still want to get it done, right? But you can organize things in a particular sequence and then pull them off your list in that priority sequence, so that the most important things get done first. That's a good thing about organizing your day in general, at work or at home, is the guy from Keller Williams Real Estate. Okay. Wrote a book called The One Thing. And in this, he talks about asking yourself, what's the one thing I can do today, or the one thing I can do in this situation, that if I do that, I don't have to do the rest of this stuff. I see, what is the one thing that's really the most important? And that's a lot of how you can stay organized and stay efficient in your work life.
Yeah, that sounds like what you want to do with some work habits. You focus on being productive rather than busy. And then, focused work sessions, regular breaks. Breaks are the important thing too, because I know a lot of people who will just kind of sit at the desk and work through their break, and not really take them. It's like, well, that's what they're there for. Step away for a few minutes is gonna, decompress, because you'll get a lot of things coming at you, and then you're like, okay, well, just step away a little bit, take a breather, and then get back to it.
And so like we talked about, we talked about learning and staying sharp on your personal life and reading and learning new things. But in business, that's important too, because in your job, if you want to be able to advance in your career, you need to learn new things. So you know how to do what you're doing for your current job. But if you want, your boss's job, for instance, then you need to learn to do the things that job entails, or whatever it is that's the next step you'd like to take. Continuing on in your professional development is really important. And you can do that with online courses, workshops. Often the company you work for may offer programs to advance your career, because they generally want people to move up in their career and improve themselves and do more for the company.
Yeah. Most companies will do that. Like the company that I work for, they do reimburse for certifications for tests. So if you get, Network Plus, MCSE, things like that you would do for that field that benefit the company, then they're more than happy to reimburse you as long as you pass the test.
Yeah, we have the same thing. And even going to seminars and things, like if there's a couple of day seminar where you learn new parts of your trade, if it's company related, it's very possible that they'll pay for it. It's certainly worth asking about.
Never hurts to ask. The worst they can say is no, we don't do anything like that.
Sure, okay. That's right. But they might, hopefully, when you ask, even if they say no, hopefully they take that as a positive, that you're looking to improve yourself, and that could help your situation as well.
Yeah, and even if they don't, maybe they could be like, well, a couple of people have asked about this. Maybe it's something we should look into doing. Yeah. So. And
if they discourage anything like that, maybe it's time to look for a new job. Because you want a place that wants you to improve yourself and to enhance your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you can use these new skills to be more effective, more efficient in your job. You can do things particularly if you're looking for a change. You can do things like networking. There's lots of networking groups. You can look at Meetup, things like that, to find networking groups close to you. So you can meet new people and maybe find new opportunities. You can find things like that on LinkedIn.com, that kind of thing. Yeah. You'll want to choose things that are going to offer value for your professional growth, not just, it might be something you like to do and be fun, but is it for your career or is it for you? And they're both important. For your job, they want things that are going to help your professional career.
Let's see, we had talked about it a couple of times briefly, but workplace wellness is also another thing. So take your breaks, stand up if you can, walk around a little bit, walk to meetings, because I know people will, take elevators most of the time. I know I do, just because I hate stairs. But, shave off a couple of floors of the elevator, walk up, a flight or two of stairs to help out, start small, little small goals. Yeah. Because that can also help reduce stress and, give you a little bit of mindfulness as well. Because, while you're just kind of walking up there, it's taking a little extra time. So you have a little more time to, think about things, whether you're, thinking of what you want to talk about during a meeting, or just kind of what you were working on before you had to go do something, just general good, healthy things to do.
Yeah. Taking the stairs is a big one. I tend to avoid the elevator if I can, and get some steps in. That's just another way to get some extra exercise when you're just going through your day. It doesn't take anything special. You just need to get from here to there. And if there's stairs, you take the stairs. Yeah. And then other things like at work, fortunately, a lot of places don't have this, and it depends on your job, of course. But where I work, they have standing desks. So it goes up and down, and you can sit down for a while, and then you can stand up for a while. And it's good to kind of go back and forth. Do that. And that kind of keeps you from falling asleep in your chair, for instance. And, because if you're getting a little bored with something, standing up and moving around kind of gets the juices flowing and helps you stay on task a little better. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, while you're trying to improve your professional life, you can look for mentors, people that'll help, people that are already doing or have done what it is you were thinking about that you want to do, and the way you want to be, the things you want to do. And so you find a mentor to help you find the right steps to take along the way, and to give you advice, keep you accountable in the things that you've agreed to do. Right? And that can help grow your career as well. Yeah. Yeah. Mentoring too. It's like, it could go along the lines of, somebody,
working along with you at your job, like, they kind of look over your shoulder. But another thing too is just having somebody that you can ask questions to. And I know some companies do it, some companies don't, but it kind of happens anyway, where you just, you have somebody that, if you start at a job, you ride along with them. So you kind of see what they do, what you're going to be doing. And then they're technically kind of a mentor because it's someone you're comfortable with that you can be like, hey, here's what I'm running into. Have you seen this? Or, hey, can you look at this? How am I doing? Kind of a thing. So even if a company doesn't have it, it's good to, have somebody at least that you can, trust to talk to. And that usually happens. People kind of attach to people that they've worked with before that helped them out. And they know, okay, well, hey, I can reach out to this person again.
Yeah. It's sort of like a peer review sort of thing. Like, I'm doing this. I believe this is exactly the way it's supposed to be, but maybe you can help me look at it and make sure I didn't miss something or offer some advice. And again, back talking about like we did earlier with talking to people, sometimes just going over what you've done and kind of explaining it a little bit helps you see whether you've missed something as well. Because it's like speaking it out, getting it out of just out of your head, and that will help you you share these things and do a better job at what you're doing. It's like collaboration, right?
Yeah. Collaborating with colleagues is needed, especially like in the IT field, because you're not going to have seen everything, but the guy sitting next to you might have seen something. Being able to collaborate about things helps just improve efficiencies in general when it comes to a job or whatever you want to do there.
Yeah, and then as we've talked about the work-life balance, you still at your work, you want to make sure that you have time for other things, for your hobbies, and to spend your quality time with your families. You've got to keep that in mind from the personal side and from the work side. Think about it from both directions to make sure that you're keeping everything on track.
Yeah, that's the same thing too, because you roll into, physical and mental health on that aspect. But another thing too that can kind of go by the wayside is like, lunches. If you get a lunch, maybe if you take that time to, pack a lunch, make something at home to bring it with you, saves you from, you take a lunch, you're like, okay, well, what do I want? Well, there's a fast food place, just, 2-minute drive. So let's go ahead and get a burger or something like that, which is not always the best for you, but
well, sometimes exactly. It's usually has a lot of fat and or sugar and things, and more food than you need. And it's more expensive.
True.
And so it's kind of the double whammy on that, because you're paying more for things that aren't good for you.
Yeah.
And not to say that you should never do it, because sometimes it just feels good to go out, and especially if you're with friends or something, and get a meal like that and spend your lunch that way. But as a rule, it's probably better, like you said, better to pack your own, or to bring something that you can do that doesn't cost you a whole bunch of money and is a little healthier for you, because you still want to keep those good habits of your good eating habits and things. Yeah.
And I guess just finishing up on that one here is basically the food in itself. Yeah. While it's not the greatest, it's, anything in moderation is fine. Whether that be sugar or something like that, just don't go overboard on it. But if it's in moderation, then it's not, going to be that big of an issue, as long as you're not doing it all the time. Same thing with work, you want to, try and moderate, what you do, summing it up, don't bring work home with you. Don't work any more than you need to. Just try and keep it balanced.
Yeah. And just, be ready to adjust as you need to. And just, the routines and strategies about how you're balancing this out, and be willing to make changes that seem to fit your life and in a better way. Things that will just get you through your day smoothly and just give you a happier, more fulfilled, more well-rounded life. And that's really what it's all about, is enjoying your life. And you want to be able to do the things that make it fun. You don't want to be depressed all the time. You want to find things that make you happy, which is where the hobbies come in. To spend some time doing something you really enjoy, whether that's woodworking or going out and playing sports with friends, or anything, hiking, camping. Those are things that I like.
Yeah. And there's no one right way to do things, our opinions on things that you can do to maintain that balance, might not be yours.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something, you try it out and you don't like it, you don't need to. I mean, it's one of the things that I learned in school. It was one of my classes, but there's like, little sayings that like things that we know to be true. One of them was, when life gives you lemons, make cherry pies, which basically means you don't have to deal with a bad situation. You can always do something different.
And it doesn't have to be lemonade, apparently.
No. And if you make lemonade with it, then you're just dealing with the bad situation, trying to make it a little better. But you don't always have to do that. You can do something completely different. If you don't like waking up in the morning to work out, okay, do it during your lunch break. Do it in the evening if that works better for you.
Some people enjoy working out in the evening after work instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that way they can relieve their stress from the workday. They can, get out any frustrations they had on, running in place, push-ups, punching bag, things like that. So just do whatever works for you. That's the biggest advice. Is changes are needed to help maintain what you want to do. Just do what works for you.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think we have a lot of good things we covered here, and things that even though I'm working with Chris here, bringing up these explanations, these situations that need to be considered in life, I'm still constantly going through the same thing myself, right? Looking at what am I doing? Is it serving me well? Should I change and do something a little differently? And it's an ongoing, ever-changing situation.
Yep.
And you just find what works for you.
Cool. Well, yeah, this is a good, fun conversation because, it makes me think of things too. It's like, I know I need to do these things. So it's like you said to me in the email, well, half the battle is admitting it.
That's right. And often that's the case. Just if you don't know or want to admit that you have some particular problem or that something's not working out the way that you want it to, just admitting to yourself that this is not working the way I'm doing it. I need to find a new way. Mm-hmm. And that's really a lot of it, is just realizing that you need to go a different direction. And then you take that direction. That works better.
There we go. Mic drop.
So I think that probably wraps it up for today.
Yeah.
So glad we could be here and share with you, and glad you're watching and or listening to us.
Yeah, thanks for taking your time to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one.